Hi there, if you would like to know what is missing in you to achieve your best, then I would recommend for you to watch this video that we actually recorded live in class. I know for a fact you're going to learn something from it. And if so, please make sure to leave some comments below. And at the same time, if you love this type of videos, subscribe to our channel and give me a thumbs up. Also, would like you to join our trading community for free via Telegram. The links are all below. I look forward to seeing you there, and you will receive daily market updates, trading tips, both technically and psychologically. And if you have any questions at all, please make sure to email us at contact@esdetrader.com or esdetraders@gmail.com. Without further ado, enjoy the presentation. Take care until next time. Happy trading. Bye now. Okay, so let's discuss here quickly about performance and how to be in a optimal peak. To be in an optimal peak, I believe there's certain processes. So let me type it here. And you can put that basically a 10 out of 10. Okay, to be in a peak performance state, in terms of having a 10 out of 10, the process is what? That's the question. How can we be in a process of 10 out of 10? I'm going to go through the process of what I call the be do have trading principle. Okay, so first one is from a state of being. And then that leads to the state of doing. Which is state of having. So there's 3 different categories in terms of the having. The having is simply just the end result. So here is the end result of your being that is based from the doing. Okay, the end result of the being that is being caused by the doing. Any questions with that? That makes sense? No, yes.
Yes, it makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this, it doesn't matter in terms of what you do. This could be wins in terms of profits. This could be losses in terms of profits as well. Could be experience and also knowledge. So it all depends on the intent of what you want to do. It also depends on the stage of where you're at right at this point in time. So if you are a novice trader or intermediate and you want more learning, then you are in a learning environment. That is the having. To gain more experience, to gain more knowledge, the question is now through how. To make a win, or basically to make money, also the having of making money. In my opinion, making money is the end result of why we do trade. And so if you're in a learning environment, making money is not the end goal when you're learning. Even when you're trading, if you see it as a game, money will just come automatically to increase basically the value. Some traders that I basically met or I've read, they don't look at the monetary value. They see it more as a game in terms of increasing like a video game, this amount of points. So some will put that value because it's 0 and 1s. And if you are a winner, sometimes they go like, okay, 1,000 points, 100,000 points, that's just being evaluated as money. So the question now is in terms of the doing part. Well, the doing part will be based on practice, based on planning, based on execution, based on management, both risk and money, based on learning, reading, technical analysis part, based on self-reflection, based on meditation, based on physical exercise, going to the gym, based on nutrition. So there are a lot of elements needed in order as well to do the actual doing component. So the doing is now part of, in other words, here, physical conditioning, physical and chemical conditioning. That's basically an important element to note. Okay. Any questions from here? Maybe I've missed a few, but you get the process. So doing is the act of practicing to execute trades, practicing to place in live trades, not demo trades. Practicing or putting or the planning and preparation of the trade, doing your homework diligently, being from that perspective, putting your stop losses in place, putting a 1/3, 2/3 rule in terms of money management, learning about technical analysis, learning about oneself. So part of that would be reading. When you're meditating, as part of your self-reflection, visualization, exercising, going to the gym, going for a walk, going for a jog, doing your push-ups, sit-ups, and so forth, eating properly, noticing in terms of the way how you feel, whether you feel lethargic or you feel excited and you feel lively. So if you say, for example, for me, if I eat too much meat, for example, I'll feel lethargic basically the next day. However, if it's a balanced diet, I have meat, I have protein, I have my carbs, but if I have more vegetables, more salads, more fruit with a cup full of meat, then next day I feel good. Or sometimes I'll have carbs with protein. And then, but the next day I will also have a big bowl of salad, just to basically all the compensation, all that. Sleeping, which I forgot to add in here. How well rested are you? Are you balanced? Do you sleep properly? So all these things. Are you stressed? So what's causing that stress? So all these things are part of the doing based on physical and your technical conditioning. The being is now based on what do you think? It is based that if you have to practice, if you, for practicing itself, then number one, you need to be motivated, right? You won't be able to practice if you're not motivated. If you're not passionate enough for what you do, would you be there? I don't think so. Would you be committed? Would you have, in order to practice, you need commitment. They all go hand in hand, basically. If you're motivated, you'll have the commitment to be motivated in order to be there, to practice. Practicing and planning trades, you need to have the desire to do so. In order to manage or to execute, once you have that planning and you have that practicing, in order to practice to trade, you need to have the courage, be courageous. In order to be courageous, you need to be confident in your own ability. In order to have that level of confidence, you need to have self-trust. Notice they're all connected. When you have self-trust, then you have self-belief that you can do it. And you have self-belief, then you have faith in oneself. And then through there, if you have integrity, follow through based on your motivation, your passion, your desire, because you're committed to this, then you will be in class no matter what. You will be at a time when it's time to trade. You will put an alarm when it's time to wake up. You will put an alert when it's time to trade. When it's time to execute, it's time to execute. There's no ifs, there's no maybes. You just have to execute. Either you do it or you don't. There's nothing in between. Right? And then from that point of execution is all about waiting. So you also need to be patient. So from the patience is through taking profits, and you also need to be abundant. So the level of abundance is also have to be from that perspective. And you need to see yourself that you are worthy of taking profits, because from the amount of effort that you put in, even so, it only took you 1 millisecond to execute, and it only took you 10 minutes, 30 minutes, no matter how long it will take, 1 hour, then you're worthy of making that money. Compared to the thought process of, I'm only worthy if I work full 8 hours basically a day, which is a limiting belief because it's already been established as a habitual practice. It's already been done since you started working. But when you're only working for an hour a day and you're making double, triple, or even more than what you're earning from a normal day-to-day job, then it plays a trick on you. So in order to have self-worth is you need to love yourself. To be worthy is through loving yourself. That is the whole process of law of attraction based on the be, do, have principle. It is this is where you need to improve from a point of level of awareness. And then when you have that level of awareness, it doesn't matter in terms of what the end result is. The question is, were you being, knowing who you are as an individual within that moment in time? Unfortunately, what happens with people is that performance is being measured by the end result, no longer from a level of performance coming from a being perspective. So even if, say, you had losses, even say your experience is not there, but you did everything that you could as a version of yourself, that you have the motivation, you have the passion, you were committed, you had the desire, you had the courage, you had basically the level of confidence, you trusted yourself for getting up, you have the belief that you can do it, you had the faith, you had integrity, you have patience, abundance, self-worth, love, and so forth. Would you then put your level of performance as a 10, despite having losses? In my opinion, it's a 10 out of 10 because you did everything you could. That's why athletes in general, for example, are very self-conscious or too hard on themselves. Oh man, I freaking can't believe I lost. I came second, I came third. You know what is the difference between a gold medalist and a silver medalist? There's no difference. Someone would disagree from that perspective and said, yes, of course, he came first, I came second. That's the end result. However, when it comes to skill set, especially now in a world class, let's say the Olympics or world championships, There's no difference in terms of the being, because everybody did their best. Everybody trained 6 days a week, maybe 7 days a week, in most cases 6 days a week, 2 to 3 times a day. Everybody sacrificed their time and effort to train full time and not to be with their loved ones, not to be in the job. Yeah, as a former athlete, you don't see rich, wealthy athletes. No, they do it because of the love of it, for the glory of what they can achieve. There's a big difference. Now, trading on the other end is also being translated with that. Oh, I'm only going to see myself as being successful. And this is where I'm going to change your way of thinking there. I'm going to be honest with you there, Jeff. Do not wait for you to come to, not coming to class, and don't wait when you just have to finish everything. That is not the process. In my opinion, you go through the course, you have a question, boom, come to the class. Because the more you do come in, the more exercises you do, the more practice you do, based on from that being perspective. Mind you, the doing of practicing comes from here, not from here. As a coach, as a mentor, it doesn't matter whether it be sports or taekwondo, or sports or trading in general. I do not care about the end result, to be honest. I mainly care more about what you did to get there. And same thing, day in, day out. I can see through Telegram in terms of the last scene. Not unless they will tell me not to be in class, then great. I know we're all busy. But this type of sessions, I just actually finished doing a presentation. So I've been up since basically 6. I didn't go to bed till about 2 o'clock because I was managing my trades. And I only have like 3-4 hours sleep, and I had to be up to do a presentation. That takes a lot of commitment. It's so easy for me not just to say, screw this, I'm not going to do the presentation. It's so easy as well for me not to do this, to make an excuse and say, hey, Jared, Perry, Jeff, I'm not going to be in class today. But no, because I have that level of commitment that I put into myself as part of my goal is to inspire others using trading as a vehicle or sports as a vehicle. And also to have that level of integrity to say to my friend that I'm going to do the presentation at basically 7 in the morning Pacific Standard Time, which is 10 Eastern, just to compensate people from overseas. So I had a really good session in regards to personality types, discussing this type of things. 91 registered. Out of 91, 24 attended. Out of the 24, 17 remained. Out of that 17, 15 remained based over the last 20 minutes of the session. So my question all the time is that if you are registering and you already have that intent that you're gonna attend, then why didn't you attend? This is why trading, if you read Market Wizards, which I also highly recommend, read Principles, the same thing they will say to you over and again, from different perspective. That's why a winner will always be a winner, because they have that level of beingness. Someone is going to be successful, someone will win all the time, is because of that level of beingness. On the trading floor, same thing. There's statistics simply that after 3 years, basically in the first year, say there's 10 people. After the end of the first year, 3 will survive, 7 will go. After 3 years, 2 will leave, only 1 will basically survive. Trading the markets is also the same. Everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to trade, but not everybody will win. And hence, that's why statistical point of view, which is now by law, providers, brokers have to put it part of their terms and conditions in terms of disclaimer that trading is risky, and that 75, depending on which broker, on average 75% of the currency markets lose trading in the markets. In other words, only 25, and out of that 25, some probably don't account. Imagine, they do account from statements that have been there for a long time, or simply they're not trading as well. But how about people who trade consistently? Brokers will actually tell you that 95% of retail traders that trade regularly will lose. Then that means only 5% will make money consistently. And it's same thing within that 91 registrants, only 17. That's a very small portion. It's almost like just above 10%. Then out of that 10% who remained in class will make money. Maybe only 1% of them will make money, depending on what they're going to do. Why? Because it takes a lot of sacrifice to do something if you want to be good at it. Doesn't matter if we do part-time or full-time. Unfortunately, that is the actual fact. That's why for me, actually, I got coaching these guys. Have you read Think and Grow Rich?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's a documentary, there's a movie about Think and Grow Rich, and maybe you see it basically online that's being circulated. I watched the movie. John Shin is his name. He was one of the producers, wealthy guy. And basically I had a one-on-one with him for 1 hour because I also wanted to discuss from a different perspective. And interesting enough, he said, "Hey, Ronaldo, you're playing small." Because I believe I have that limitation that trading is not for everybody. And hence is why I don't feel good marketing about trading systems, because, or marketing that, you know, I can make you X amount of money and so forth, blah, 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 blah. That's for me playing small because of that belief system. So, because I've been in the game for so long that I've seen people basically, it's like a big factory. They go in and out, especially when to get to a certain belt. Once they get to a blue belt, probably intermediate. And I've seen basically in the past, they will blame me, they will blame the system, or it doesn't work, so it's all BS. But at the end of the day, it's like I was explaining to the people early in the morning, like it is not about the system, and it's not about the coaches or the mentors. The problem is actually you. It is you who is the major problem, that you're not getting the results that you want. And you can tell that after the 24th, people start to get off. And I said, I have to apologize in advance, because that's a fact. Why? Because people do not like the truth about themselves. So it's easier to blame others and play the victim rather than looking at the source of where the actual problem is. You want to be in a peak performance state? Then that's why I recommend always do a lot of self-reflection. The only way to do that is when you're placing in trades. You cannot do a self-reflection if you're not putting in trades, because you're playing safe. So if you're playing safe, then you're sitting on the sidelines, just thinking and hoping that it might make money or not make money. That's why people who are sitting on the sidelines, they're always going to be right. They're always going to be perfect, because they don't like to lose, or they're being perceived as not being successful, or they're being perceived as a loser. Makes sense? That's why performance is being measured on how the things that you did from a being perspective. Being for me means knowing who you are as an individual. Remember, this skin, this body is just a host. I am not being measured, or not going to be perceived based on what I look, based on what others think of me. Now, if I will think in terms of what people think of me, then I'm no longer being of who I am. I am now thinking more, I care more what other people think, rather than of thinking of what I should be and act and do within that moment. So that inner being, you call it the light, the spirit, the consciousness, is the driving force of who you are as an individual. And that driving force are based on those values and principles that you hold dearly as part of your supporting belief. Any form of ego, of fear, self-doubt, greed, regret, all in most cases are being driven through that ego, which is no longer being of who you are being. It is now being based on your conscious, which is in the persona, the mask. That's why people who are, call them fake, people who are arrogant. Arrogance and confidence is a big difference. Arrogance is simply not knowing who they are. They're putting a persona, a mask. From the outside, they look confident, but from the inside, they're hurting, which I've met a lot of people like that. Perhaps at one point, it was me too. Why? Because I also was a people pleaser. So if you're people pleasing, then you're no longer being of who you are being, because you're now seeking validation from others in order for you to have self-worth and self-love. So first, you need to see yourself, that you love yourself and that you are worthy of something. Then you can express that love internally, externally, and that's how you can attract people. Confidence is attraction. Nobody wants to be someone who is not confident, right? So that's why in trading, it is important to have, I call it the alpha energy. Sometimes it's a bad connotation in that word alpha, because it means more like you are a control freak. No, alpha males and alpha females are the ones who lead the pack. If you see a wolf, they are at the front. They're leading the non-alpha people or alpha wolves. Same thing, you know, if you're a leader, a good leader, a good alpha male is the one who will lead. If in terms of straits, like in terms of problems, then a good leader will basically lead. They're the ones who will take the responsibility within the whole pack, right? So I know, like say, I'll take Donald Trump, for example. His perception, people perceive him as an asshole or he's not good. Why? Because of the level of communication. That is just part of who he is. However, deep down, he cares for the people. And hence, there were a lot of things that in my opinion, if you listen to his words very carefully, he was already protecting the people before the pandemic and during the pandemic. And then when he lost, notice things basically have changed. It's now definitely about control. Same thing in terms of your trading is that you need to take full control of your trades. You need to have that leadership mentality to protect your capital through risk management. But in order to produce so, you need to have that level of discipline, which is also a part of it here. Discipline can be a bad word to some, because it comes from, actually discipline comes from the word disciple, being a learner or a student. So when you have the discipline to be a student, then so what if you made a loss? Who cares? Then is that loss mean something to you? Maybe it does. And if it does, then find a solution to make it better. I mean, very similar with, you know, when I was with, we did the thing with Perry at one point, which was me and Perry. Sometimes me, Perry, and Jared. And we were trading. Basically got too overly confident, no longer being disciplined about position sizing, because we were just so confident, or I was so confident that it's going to go the way. Yes, it did. But from a risk management component, it was still highly leveraged that have to protect the capital and have to close certain positions, and basically it dropped. So giving out that 157% hurt. To give 140% actually, from 157 down to 17% because of that one trade, it hurt. Why? Because of no longer the discipline component in terms of position sizing. However, there's that level of confidence that gave me the ability to keep holding on to this. And 2 days later, right, Perry? 2 days later, it went to where we wanted to go. But if by waiting for that 2 days, but mind you too, though, there was also that sense of responsibility to close positions before, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I wasn't willing to give more. So I have to close majority of the positions in order to do so. However, if the planning was a little bit more meticulous by hedging the position properly, then it would have saved the account, and that 157 would have gone beyond another 200%, probably would be up like 300% or more based on that two particular trades, actually, because we were at the dollar CAD and oil. So, but nevertheless, from that perspective here of that being, I brought that account from 17% now back to 105% as of today. So it's still there, but it's just that you have to be on this state. That's why don't wait until you go live. Go live now. Tomorrow, you don't know. You might be dead tomorrow. You might be in a deathbed and you're like, oh, then the last thing that you want is regret. Oh man, I should have done this. That's why for me, if there's any opportunities, I will basically take it. Or within that moment, as long as it's good for me, then I will do it. Because I don't want to be in my deathbed and then regretting that I didn't do it. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I've seen friends basically at the same age as I am, and all of a sudden they had a heart attack and like, boom. It's like, holy craps. It gives you the big self-realization that tomorrow really doesn't exist. Everything happens today. So what you do today plays a very big impact of your future. That's in my opinion. That is from the being, doing, and having, where everything is being in the moment of now. But is it okay to express oneself from a fear perspective? Absolutely. Express yourself when you're angry. Express yourself when you're sad. Express yourself when you're fearful. Express yourself when you are in a regret state. Yes, absolutely. Then look into it. Boom. Once you're done, find that self-reflection of say, okay, you know what? I'm not perfect. I made a mistake. Forgive yourself and then move on. That's the only way to basically do it, because if you're hanging on to something, you're going to bring that to the future that becomes the moment. That's why people do not execute when it's time to execute, because they're afraid. Even though there's already a lot of evidence of why you have to get in, at the end of the day, then you're also not being honest and within yourself in terms of the level of sincerity and honesty within your own self, that if you already find enough evidence and that you're saying to yourself, I'm willing to risk X amount of money, yet you're not executing, then what's the problem? What's the issue? Because at the end of the day, there is no issue, because you already said that you're already happy to lose X amount. See what I mean? It's like when you get this, I'm so passionate about this, and sometimes I just saw basically on social media, sometimes it is best not to say something to anyone because they're not ready to receive the message. Everybody has their own time. Even when they're on deathbed, some people won't get it. Why? Because they're so ingrained with their own limiting beliefs anyway. Because they're not willing to open. They're not willing to have the open mind to learn from the mistakes of what they've done, because of the ingrained that they want to be perfect, they want to be right, and so forth, so forth. Okay? This is why that level of performance, you want to be in a peak optimal performance, this is where you have to do all the time when you're trading on a day-to-day basis. In my opinion, this is why I love this class so much, because it gives me, through teaching and through saying all this, it is also reaffirming other things. It doesn't end there. I'm actually right now, as we speak, I'm doing Joe Vitale certification of clearing. because I know that there's also other limitations that I still have in there from a subconscious level that I also have to get rid of. And hence, by doing that, also learning different strategies, different techniques, it's an ongoing thing. In my opinion, learning is an ongoing, because when you stop learning, you're dead. If you think that you're already perfect, you're dead. Because if you already say that you're perfect, then what's the whole point of living? In my opinion, we are in this lifetime to learn. It's an ongoing learning. Even when we're dead, I don't see things that's dead anyway. It's the host that basically passes away, but your internal being, that spirit, that light will keep going. In my opinion, it's an ongoing thing until you reach nirvana. That's just my own belief from reading in terms of my own spirituality. Eastern philosophy believes that once you pass away, you're going to keep going until you find that nirvana of that purity, that state, like Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha. And being a former Catholic, I totally understood that Jesus will come back. And it's like, yeah, because when he gave himself, that's pure unconditional love. And it's said to come back. Yes, he's coming back from a different form. That's why Jesus is everywhere. God is everywhere from different form, based from that one pure state of love. From you have that unconditional love, man, then that's phenomenal. But the thing for me is like, it's so interesting that when it comes to kids, you have unconditional love. When it comes to other people, on the other hand, it doesn't matter, you're in a relationship, there's always conditions. You're in a relationship with the markets, you always have condition. Freaking market, I hate you. Those are harsh words. You didn't make me any money because of the level of expectation. It's a condition. But at the end of the day, it is now the condition that you give to yourself. For kids, on the other hand, it doesn't matter what they do. They make a mistake. You know what? You love them anyway. Isn't it interesting? You have your partner, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. There's always going to be some form of condition, and people will not accept them of who they are. Why? Because they're the need, because they're not giving them what they need or what they want, right? But once kids, they don't give what you want or what they need. That's why we love them unconditionally. But once you get that and you are no longer in need of money, then you have less pressure. If you're just no longer in need of perfectionism, then you will accept, and that is the key, a level of acceptance. When you accept things the way they are, then there's no pressure of winning or making money. Okay, so that is the process on how to be an optimal peak performance based on the be to have principle or based on law of attraction.